picture here. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you don't do this for a while. Huh. Aren't you glad you tuned in? Well, anyway, until I figure this out, let me ramble on. The good news is we're back, and we'll be doing a daily broadcast, daily at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about all the current events that are going on in baseball. And hopefully you'll be able to join us. Consider it your breakfast with baseball with the Baseball Way of Lifers. Now, yesterday I made a post stating that what I would like to do is actually, hey, there I am. Hey, you probably want to see that picture again, don't you, instead of this ugly mug. As you can see, I haven't even showered yet, and the hair's a mess, but it goes along with the rest of my body, which is basically a mess. But anyway, we'll be on every day at 7 a.m. Weekends may vary. Sometimes I have things to do in the morning and maybe later, maybe earlier than 7 a.m. Who knows? Am I get that crazy enough to get up this early to do that broadcast even before 7 a.m. on the weekends? You never know. It depends on what's going on that day. Now, like I said, I've been looking for the perfect format to do this broadcast. What can I do to make this broadcast unique to the baseball group? And thankfully, I've been able to do broadcasts with one Mr. Joey Buchholz on his Utopian Baseball Universe, which is on Fridays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And here on Mondays at 8:30 a.m., he comes on this broadcast and we talk about his group. And one of the things I liked most about doing those chats, and still like doing those chats, we're going to be doing them on a constant basis, it looks like, and that's a good thing, is we have 5 questions a day. Now, yesterday in the group, I did pose 5 questions that, well, I asked everyone to ask a question that they'd like answered or discussed about here in the group. Unfortunately, maybe you guys missed the post, but no one posted, but it is still a work in progress. So I will, after every broadcast, post a thread asking for questions and topics to be discussed that day, the following day in our broadcast that comes on at 7 a.m. And I'll address them. And you guys can always join in if you want. There's comments here, and I can address what your comments are and what your questions and concerns or just topics of baseball. We've done it in the past, and a lot of people participated, and I found it fun. And I hope you guys do too. The other thing I have in the works is switching off to an Apple computer, because this is my work computer. It's a PC, and the picture is pretty crappy. But that's not the point. I just want to make it a better broadcast visually. So hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll have that up and running there. The other thing I want to say is, fire in those questions. And here's food for thought. And I'll mention this, at the end of every broadcast or during a broadcast. If you want to join in one of these broadcasts in the morning, or just have one where you want to discuss your group, your podcast, anything you want, we can discuss, set up a time. We can do it on this show, or we can go ahead and schedule an appointment here to promote whatever you want to promote or discuss whatever you want to discuss. And I'd be more than willing and happy to have you on board. Like I said, I had asked for questions, but like I said, this was on short notice. I didn't get any yesterday. So what I basically did, I took the ball in my own hands and said, I'm playing ball. And I think these are the type of questions you may actually ask or topics you may discuss. Like, I have no questions. What I'm going to do is filter on a daily basis, go through the site itself and see what the popular topics were that were being discussed and take it from there. And we can discuss it even further on these broadcasts. And that's what I look to do. And like I said, this one's not going to be too long. It's just going to be a short overview because we didn't get any questions. I really didn't prepare any questions or anything. I just went over some of the topics of the day. And you can see them on the thread below, the little ticker. The one I wanted to discuss was, how about Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis? Looks like the wheels are falling off of that wagon, isn't it? They got into a little dugout confrontation yesterday. It was heated. And, being the type of person who watches a train wreck when it happens, I couldn't help but watch the video more than once. And when the cameras near the dugout caught the images and sound of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis arguing loudly Saturday night in St. Louis, the perception outside the team, and I'm one of those who got that perception, was the infighting has infected the Padres as their quest for a playoff spot has hit rocky ground. The team denied it, saying Machado was showing leadership to a younger player. Well, I got to be honest with you. That's kind of a weird way to show leadership when you're in the guy's face, and they were loud. And Machado, I guess, was taking the leadership role, and sometimes we underestimate Manny Machado. It seemed to be that Machado thought Tatis was waiting too long on being called out on strikes by umpire Phil Cuzzi in the fifth inning. Machado in the videos can be heard yelling, "You go play baseball. It's not about you," while he gestured in Tatis's direction. Jace Tingler, who seems to be walking on thin ice with the Padres, did not view this negatively. He said people can think what they think, but we're family. We're not going to discuss details. Wait, I need my coffee, folks. Yes, I do get tongue-tied. Bear with me. Tingler says they're not going to discuss details, but they care. There's passion, there's frustrations. Those things are normal and natural, but it comes down to a group of men caring. So it could be a good thing that it actually did happen. It shows the Padres still have some fight in them. I don't know how you guys think. But in the fifth inning, Tatis argued with Cuzzi on the field as several other players on both teams had done before, prompting Tingler to emerge from the dugout and join the fray. Tatis had his say but remained in the game while Tingler was ejected. Now, the video was taken near the dugout, appeared to be taken shortly before the Padres took the field for a ball in the fifth. In it, Machado tells Tatis that he's too good to get caught up in something beyond his control that took place in the past. Now, as almost always happens in these cases, neither Machado nor Tatis were made available to the media Saturday night. The Padres lost on Taiwan O'Neill's eighth-inning home run, falling 2.5 games behind in the race for the NL's final wildcard spot. Remember in the beginning of the year, we were saying who's going to win the division, Dodgers or Giants? Then we said, well, all three teams are going to be in the playoffs. One's going to be the division winner, and two are going to be in the wild card. Well, it looks like the Padres may not even make it, but you never know. There's still a lot of time left for them to make a move. And what you got to understand, a lot of these guys on the Padres play with winning teams, championship teams, if you look at their roster. And I guess they're a little bit frustrated with what's going on, and I can't blame them. But it is what it is. Baseball is a funny game that way. And with all the attention the Padres have gotten this year, one team that hasn't gotten the attention of the baseball world, and it's been crazy, it's been driving me crazy. Now this is going to be their fourth year making the playoffs, as the Brewers now clinched a spot for their fourth straight postseason. Now, they still are looking for that elusive bigger prize. But the good news is, and hats off to the Brewers, this is their fourth straight year in the postseason. Now, Manny Pina's second home run tonight was a go-ahead blast down the left field line in the bottom of the eighth inning that sent the Brewers toward a 6-4 win over the Cubs on Saturday. That made Milwaukee the third team in Major League Baseball to clinch its spot in the division. There were no champagne showers, making this clincher much different from the previous 7 in franchise history. In fact, it wasn't even plastered across a scoreboard, and some of the 33,625 in the stands might not have even known. So the Brewers are keeping this low key. They're looking at the big picture. And after Josh Hader struck out Wilson Contreras and Patrick Wisdom for the final 2 outs, stranding the tying runner in scoring position, the Brewers shook hands like any other victory and retreated to the clubhouse. Boy, you talk about being professionals. That's like the Yankees after they win year after year. And that's basically because the next goal, winning the National League Central, is tantalizing close. And I think that's when they will celebrate. The Brewers' magic number to clinch the division is down to 3, and the earliest way they can wrap that up is Monday. The earliest they can wrap it up is Monday, I should say, when the second-place Cardinals come to American Family Field to open a 4-game series. Now, Craig Counsell said, we put the ability to win the division in our control. So that's our goal, and we're sticking to that goal. We know that we're in the playoffs, and everybody is thrilled with that. But we feel like we've earned the right to wait until we win this division. Now, muted celebration aside, this was history. After making postseason appearances 4 times in their first 49 seasons as a franchise, the Brewers have now made it in each of the last 4 years under their homegrown manager Counsell and president of baseball operations, David Stearns. Now, I know the Mets were hot on David Stearns' tail last year. They wanted him to be their general manager. And boy, as a Met fan, don't I wish he was the general manager. But you can see why he is such an integral part of that Milwaukee Brewer franchise. Now, there's a lot of games left, Corbin Burns said, and they have to keep their focus towards that. I think there will be a celebrating tonight, but the main celebration is going to be when we clinch the division. The game against the Cubs was among Milwaukee's most entertaining contests of the year, starting with Burns on the mound for the first time since combining with Hader on a no-hitter, logging his 8th double-digit strikeout game of the season and allowing a home run for the first time in 7 starts as the teams traded barbs. Now, Lorenzo Cain, I don't know if you saw that highlight of that. He made a sensational catch when he crashed into the wall. But he was injured in the process, and there were 4 lead changes and 3 ties from the 2nd inning through the 8th. Yes, that's the way baseball is played, the way we like it. Pena, Eduardo Escobar, and Jace Peterson all hit go-ahead home runs, and Pena did it twice off Cubs starter Justin Steele in the 2nd inning for the game's first run, and again in the 8th off reliever Scott Efros to break a 4-4 tie. When Pablo Reyes added insurance with an acrobatic slide at the home plate later in the inning, and Hader logged his 33rd save in the 9th, the Brewers were October bound. Amazing. Now, hitting go-ahead run in the postseason clincher qualifier is quite a moment for Pena. Believe it or not, he's the longest tenured Brewer who came to the team as a player to be named in Stern's very first trade. So there you go. Things come in full circle. That was a trade in December 5th, 2015 that sent closer Francisco Rodriguez to Detroit. Whatever happened to Francisco K-Rod? Boy, was he a bright star on the horizon, never panned out. Well, maybe that will be on the top of my list of moments in the major leagues, Pena said. That was great. We won today and made the playoffs one more time, 4 in a row. It's amazing, a great thing, and this group is special. The Cubs didn't make it easy. Ian Happ's 2-run homer gave Chicago a 3-2 lead in the 5th inning and represented the first home run off Burns since August 6th. His streak of 44 innings without allowing a homer was the longest active run for a starter in baseball. After the Brewers reclaimed the lead on Peterson's home run leading off the 6th, the Cubs answered right back with Wilson Contreras' monster shot to left field off Brad Boxberger in the 7th. But the Brew Crew kept coming. Now they have an October berth secured. Even David Ross said, to their credit, they're in every game. Their offense has been really good in the second half, and for a while now, I guess. They've got really talented players, guys having really good years. And it looks like they have a really fun atmosphere. They have a really good team, and I'm starting to sound like Ed Sullivan, who had a really big shoe, as I'm quoting David Ross. Now, Escobar, one of Milwaukee's midseason additions, returned that tip of the cap. Yesterday and today were great games, man, Escobar said, especially tonight. It felt like a postseason game in the 8th and 9th. Just unbelievable. Everybody's loud. The best closer in the league right now, Hader, a good hitter, and 2 people on base. I think that's a postseason game right there. I'm so happy. On a good team, when you have great energy every day and you're down early in a game, you come back again and again. That's why we say every game is very important, because you prepare your mentality, you prepare your energy for the postseason, and it's going to be fun. This is me talking now. I think it's going to be fun seeing the Brew Crew in the postseason. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to it. Who else? What other teams am I looking forward to? Well, my pick in the beginning of the year to win the World Series was the Los Angeles Dodgers playing the New York Yankees. Now, I don't think the Yankees are going to make it. I had the Yankees winning over 100 games, and I had the Dodgers challenging the Mariners for 116 wins when they got Bauer and had looked like the best rotation in baseball. Well, you know what? They still have the best rotation in baseball, but Bauer isn't there. Max Scherzer is there instead. And elite pitchers like Max Scherzer are typically dominant wherever they go, and he is really proving that point in Los Angeles. And he's been unbelievable. Now, yesterday, he led the Dodgers to a 5-win over the Reds. Now, get this. Scherzer now has a 0.33 ERA in 4 starts in Cincinnati. Now, that is a hitter's ballpark, and that is a hitter's team. So that shows you how good a pitcher Max Scherzer is. He's allowed only 1 run over 27 innings while racking up 42 strikeouts. He struck out 7 yesterday, marking the only time he did not record double-digit strikeouts while pitching in Cincinnati. Now, Scherzer, a leading candidate to win the National League Cy Young Award, hasn't lost since May 30th. I think that's just about the time Jacob deGrom left on the injured reserve list early in June. So I think deGrom has passed the torch to Max Scherzer. What do you think? and he allowed 2 runs over 6 innings to the Brewers on that day. Since then, he's won 11 decisions in a row, and in his last 16 starts since June 4th, he had a 1.90 ERA and 131 strikeouts. 7 of those 11 wins came after he joined the Dodgers. Dave Roberts says he likes it. He likes the redundancy. Hey, Dave, newsflash, who wouldn't? Max Scherzer can pitch like that every day if he's my pitcher and I'm the manager. Roberts said he's very good. He's prepared. He competes, and he makes the pitches when he needs to. For him to go 7, it was great for us. After a night like that night, for us to come back with the win was big. And it was timely, too. The Dodgers locked in a tight race with the first-place Giants, remained 2 back in the race for the NL West. San Francisco shut out Atlanta. What's happened to those Braves? Phillies are only a game behind the Braves now, and they shut out Atlanta 2-0 last Saturday. Now, of course, one of the main reasons Dodgers have stayed so close in the race is Scherzer, who's been everything the club envisioned when obtaining him from the Nationals in the deal just prior to the trade deadline. In 9 starts for the Dodgers, check this out, Scherzer has a 0.78 ERA and a 0.66 whip, and he has walked 7 and struck out 79. He handled the Reds with the same ease as when he faced the Astros, Phillies, Mets, Padres, Braves, and Cardinals since becoming an LA Dodger. He hasn't allowed more than 6 hits against any team. Amazing. The Reds managed just 2 hits off him Saturday, having almost no luck with the curveball that Scherzer identified as his main weapon in this outing. Beautiful thing about Scherzer is every outing he could have a different weapon. This guy is locked and loaded with pitches that defy logic. Now, Scherzer threw the pitch 12 times, getting 7 swings and misses and 3 strikeouts with it. Scherzer said he had a good feel for today. Every pitch plays off each other. Every pitch makes every other pitch better. So if I can be on my curveball, that makes every other pitch good. All pitches play off each other, and then it comes down to sequencing how you mix and match. And when you see it, when you're hard, soft, behind the count, ahead of the count, that's my game, to be able to throw a pitch at any time. Now, one can argue that this is probably the most dominant stretch in Scherzer's career. And that's no small feat because, hey, let's face it, he's been a Hall of Famer before all this started and was a key figure in the Nationals World Series run 2 years ago. And Trey Turner, who was with Scherzer back with the National days, says, I was there for parts of his Cy Young years. And for me, it's as good as I can remember him. He's been so efficient lately. In the past, he'd have his games where he threw 100 pitches in 6 innings and have to grind it out. But I feel like in his last few starts, he's been so efficient and he's striking people out. Scherzer would go as far as to acknowledge that he's having a good stretch, perhaps one of his best ever. Beyond that, he emphasized the long-term process rather than the short-term outcomes. He basically said, this is a sign of a true professional when Scherzer says this, if you ask me. I don't get caught up in results. It's a process. It's executing pitches. It's having every single pitch and going out there with a plan and knowing what you want to do with it. Is getting results great? Yes, it is. But at the same time, I'm not worried about results because at any one moment in time, the results can flip on you. Whether it's process or results, the Dodgers are banking on more of this as they move toward October. Scherzer said, I feel like that's my best strength, to go out there and compete with some intensity. Boy, is that the understatement of the year. The only one I could think that is as intense as Scherzer, and I mentioned him before regarding Scherzer, is Jacob deGrom. Those guys are beasts on the mound. They don't care who's up at the plate. But Scherzer said, it just seems like these guys feed off it, and so it's been fun to play with these guys. And hopefully here in the playoffs, we can have a good run as well. So that is Max Scherzer in a nutshell. And let's talk about those Cardinals. They're competing for the wild card, and they may very well end up playing the Dodgers for the wild card game. And wouldn't that be some matchup if Scherzer pitched against Adam Wainwright? In one game, everything takes all. Well, yesterday, the chances for the Cardinals, congrats to the Cardinals as I sip my Joe. They got one game closer to the wild card on Taiwan O'Neill's go-ahead home run. Now, as he ran out into his position in left field, Taiwan O'Neill felt the need to give a tip of the cap, and some of the acknowledgement to the 40,626 at Busch Stadium on Saturday night, and particularly to those in his corner. Moments earlier, he sent the grand majority of them into a tizzy, a ball he willed with muscle and with yells to leave the yard. O'Neill said he told himself that ball's just got to get up. It's just got to go. It's got to go for the boys. That's it. Now, O'Neill's two-run blast in the eighth inning rocked the Cardinals with a 3-2 win over the Padres. And I can't emphasize what a big week the Cards have had. They basically were competing with the Mets for one of the wild card spots and set the Mets into oblivion with a 3-game sweep. And now they're doing some damage to the Padres. And we'll talk about another player flying under the radar. It's Taiwan O'neill. That was his 28th long ball of the season, a year in which he has shown his front office and his fan base the complete player he can be. This is one that gave the Cardinals some more breathing room in the National League wild card race. St. Louis, riding a 7-game winning streak and with one loss in its last 10 games, holds a 2-game lead over the Reds, who lost on Saturday. San Diego, 2.5 games back, now is tied with Philadelphia. So how the mighty have fallen. Now, from the pitfalls of June, when I thought, in the beginning of the year, I had the Cardinals as, believe it or not, as winning the division. I thought the Cubs were going to compete with them. But it looks like they won't be winning the division. But their postseason push of late August and early September, they've made themselves to beat down the stretch in almost eerily similar parallel to the magical run the club made in 2011. So watch out, baseball world. Maybe this is the Cardinals getting hot at the right time. More than 30 members of that squad were at Busch Stadium on Saturday night, commemorating the 10th year anniversary of that ball club. Oh, the irony. And they bore witness to a win that harkens back to 10 Septembers ago. Adam Wainwright said this is a commonality, which lost 6 innings of 2-run ball in front of his former teammates. But, we were 10.5 back in 11. I don't want to cheapen what that team did. We got ourselves a really good situation here, too, and there's some similarities. And Mike Schultz said this night had magic to it before the game started. Now, a night that begged for a magical ending, Taiwan O'Neill sent the third largest crowd at Busch Stadium this season into a euphoric haze. By the time Nolan Arenado popped out a batter later, the Cardinals only had batted a game with the lead. Gone were the worries of June strugglers of not cashing in on two prime opportunities to score in the 4th and 5th inning. 6th inning, I should say. And that just goes to show good teams win at the end of the game as well as putting teams away in the beginning of the game. So whether it's close or at the end, they find a way to win, and the Cardinals are winning. Like I said, O'Neill was in position to take that at-bat in the 8th inning. And that was in itself an impressive feat, because twice the left fielder lost the benefit of the doubt in the midst of a rally via third called strike for Padres starter Yu Darvish with 9 Cardinals. Yu had his K-ball working, and he was pitching a good game. Now, O'Neill said, I thought a couple calls to me were off the plate, but that's the zone, and I just got to adjust as a player. That's one of my beefs about umpires. They all have different strike zones, and you have to adjust to the umpire sometime. That's almost like one of the reasons why I'm almost leaning towards a robo umpire calling balls and strikes, but we'll save that for another broadcast. O'Neill said that was the thing with me. He's just trying to stay disciplined, and I cannot miss a pitch to hit. That was it. Just maturing. That's it. Yes, the good hitters have patience, and they do wait for their pitch. So maturing in several facets. O'Neill's sounds like Modell's and O'Neill combined. Gotta go to O'Neill's. But anyway, it's O'Neill's home run gave him 477 plate appearances this season, his first go of full 162 game schedule. He's hitting 281 with an 886 OPS. O'Neill, a Gold Glover in 2020, entered the 21 season with a 229 batting average and a 713 OPS and 450 plate appearances across 3 seasons. So he has really blossomed this year, and he's a major reason why the Cards are fighting for the wild card. And even Wainwright said the front office has always said that they think this guy is going to be the next 40-40 guy, meaning O'Neill. And he really is becoming a complete player. And it was, like I said, I was watching a little bit of that game, and it was a magical night in Busch Stadium. They were rowdy. They were into it. They were celebratory. They know a playoff push is there, and a pennant may be on the horizon. And they've stuck with them. And you got to hand it to St. Louis Cardinal fans. They are one of the best group of fans in Major League Baseball. And if you argue with me on that, you're going to be wrong. Now, talk about off-season trades. Marcus Semien. Well, wasn't a trade. They signed him, and through a long season, 3 homes and a dozen different ups and downs for the Blue Jays, he's been one of the consistent things about the Blue Jays this year. And yesterday, he launched his 40th home run in the season, Saturday afternoon, 6-2 win over the Twins at Rogers Center. Building on a career he has should basically put him right behind Ohtani and Guerrero in the AL MVP conversation. Now, with the win, the Blue Jays moved a half game ahead of the Yankees to reclaim the second AL wildcard spot and sit 1 game back at the Red Sox for the top spot. Now, Semien's performance goes beyond anything the Blue Jays could have expected when they brought him in on a 1-year, $18 million deal this past offseason. Yes, that was the perfect signing. And his 2019 season proved that Semien is capable of being a premier player in the majors, but he did come off a down year in 2020. But he's blown his career best out of the water at the plate while putting himself in Gold Glove Award conversation. With 14 games remaining, Semien also has a chance by hitting the most home runs by a second baseman in a single season. And that record's held by Davey Johnson. Yes, the former Met manager did with the Braves in 1973. 2 people had 42, Brian Dozier and one of the greatest hitters of all time, Roger Hornsby, who did it in 1922. And now Semien is tied with Ryan Sandberg, who did it in 1990 with the Cubs. And you know what? It's just not an easy thing to do. And to be a second baseman, have the season he's had with 40 home runs, it's been great for the Blue Jays. And what an added plus. Now, his dominance has been overshadowed by Guerrero, and understandably so, but the duo will form arguably the best 1-2 punch in baseball this season. And if you listen to or watch my YouTube cast about the Blue Jays this year, I said the Blue Jays and the White Sox were going to be 2 of the up-and-coming teams this year. And the Blue Jays kind of faked me out. I said, maybe next year's the year, but they could be dangerous in the playoffs. Now, both Guerrero and Semien rank in MLB's top 4 in home runs and have also become just the 4th duo in Blue Jays history to hit 40-plus homers in the same season. Who else did it? I'm glad you asked. Jose Bautista and Josh Donaldson in 2015, Carlos Delgado and Tony Batista in 2000, and Delgado and Sean Green in 1999. And Semien has just been consistent. And with George Springer going down earlier in the year, Semien's year couldn't be a better remedy for all that went on. Now, he stepped in as the leadoff man. He didn't skip a beat. He was just as comfortable batting second and third. And since his swell and red-hot May, he's been one of the steadiest hitters in baseball. He just does the same thing every day, and he comes to the ballpark every day. And it looks like he's even there for optional batting practice. He's out there for optional ground balls. So he's been the actual perfect lead-by-example team player. He has a tremendous work ethic. And when he isn't doing great, well, it's a rare day in Blue Jay land indeed. But the Blue Jays are amazing. Now, yesterday they got some offense from Teoscar Hernandez, whose 3-run skyscraper just barely cleared the wall in left field. Hernandez's 28th home run of the year gave him 106 RBIs, putting him 3rd in baseball, behind only Jose Abreu with 111 and Salvador Perez with 112. Given that Hernandez missed 3 weeks in April on COVID-19 IL, that accomplishment is even more incredible. So, how about Teoscar Hernandez? What a line. I would not want to be a pitcher pitching against the Blue Jays. And Hernandez even said he's slowing the game down, not trying to think about base runners. He focuses on his bat and just tries to make good contact. He knows if he makes good contact with men on base, he's going to do damage. Damage has been the theme of September for the Blue Jays. Their starting pitching has set the stage, too. And my boy Steve Matz pitched 5 2/3 innings, a 2-run ball on Saturday. And he's had a quiet, pretty damn good year for the Blue Jays this year. With all phases of rosters finally clicking at the same time, the Blue Jays remain a team that nobody wants to face in October. They'll need to get there first, but if they do, it'll be Semien leading the way and Semien getting to the field first on that first game in a wild card, and that is always a good thing to see. A player who loves being in the game and playing in the game and being a leader. So congrats. Congrats. And that's going to wrap it up for today. Like I said, we are going to be here every day at 7 o'clock unless otherwise noted. And what I really want you guys to do is At the end of our broadcast, I'm going to put it up there. Field questions for our next Today in Baseball segment, which this was our return was the first day we're calling it Today in Baseball. So I hope you enjoyed it. I want you guys to be involved. And like I said, fire those questions away. Post every day. What questions do you want to hear? Answer, I should say. And feel free to be interactive in here. You can always leave comments. It's StreamYard, so they may ask you permission for you to leave your comment. Ask for permission. And sometime during the broadcast, either at the end of the broadcast, I'll answer those questions either from your comments during the broadcast or the ones that you leave in the group site. Like I said, if anyone wants to join this broadcast to discuss whatever, just want to talk baseball, I'm cool with it. You want to talk about your podcast, your group site, your newsletter, your book, anything, please, the more the merrier. Our site has 10,000 subscribers. Is that what you call it? Members, I should say, in Facebook. And if you're watching this on YouTube and not a member of the baseball group, please do join. If you're a Facebook member, we're Baseball Way of Life. And if you ever need to reach out to me, I'm at philstan41@gmail.com. Would always love to hear from you. Enjoy the day of baseball. I know there's football on, so it's going to be tough. So hopefully you have one of those setups where you have multi-screens and computers and everything and watching everything you want to watch. But it's going to be a good day of sports, a lot of football, a lot of baseball. And hey, we may even talk about some things in sports that aren't baseball related during the off season, as well as baseball. Every day is going to be baseball related, but we may talk about other sports too. So it's good to be back. We'll be here every day at 7 o'clock, unless otherwise noted. And if it's not 7 o'clock that day, I'll tell you what time it is. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to this YouTube cast. And by all means, excuse me, beg your pardon, as Bob Murphy used to say, but he used to smoke. I don't smoke. What's my story? But anyway, please subscribe to this YouTube cast and please join the group if you're not a member of Baseball Way of Life. That's it for today. Enjoy all the sports today. Enjoy the baseball. And we'll talk again tomorrow at 7 a.m. Oh, and tomorrow is a double dip. 7 a.m. we have this YouTube cast. And then at 8:30 we have This Week in Utopian Baseball Universe with Joey Buchholz, which is always fun. And Joey returns the favor and asks, I asked Joey 5 questions. And on his show on Friday, I asked him 5 questions. That's it for now. Talk again tomorrow. Have a great day, folks.